Okay, let's continue where we left off. We were talking about the extensor retinaculum and the flexor retinaculum. And again, the retinaculum is connective tissue that holds the tendons in place in the wrist area. Here's this white band-looking material that's holding the tendons, the gray areas underneath it. That's the flexor retinaculum because it's on the flexor side of the arm, of the forearm. Notice how many of these muscles have the term flexor in them. And again, here we can also see the flexor retinaculum right here, this white area that again is holding some of the tendons beneath it in place. Okay, but here we're at the backhand side, so these are extensors. So this white band of material here is the extensor retinaculum, and notice how these tendons are running beneath it. So it's holding those tendons in place. Again, you see it tagged right here, this white area over the gray area, extensor retinaculum on the backhand side. And again, you notice how these names for these muscles usually start with extensor. Now let's look at muscles of the lower limb, or the legs. And of course, gluteus maximus and gluteus medius. Most of you probably sometime heard the term gluteus maximus, but you might not have realized you've got a gluteus medius, and you even have something called a gluteus minimus, even though it's not on your list. Here we see the gluteus maximus. There's gluteus maximus there, one of the stronger, larger muscles in the body. And if we would take the gluteus maximus off, we would see some muscles that are underneath the gluteus maximus, and the one we're concerned with is this one right here that says gluteus medius, and it starts up here on the iliac crest. It runs down to the greater trochanter coming off the femur, but you can see it would actually be underneath the gluteus maximus, and still even smaller under is the gluteus minimus, which is not on your list, so I won't ask it, but since it's on the picture, I wanted to mention it. Okay, the next muscle is actually a group of muscles. It's called the iliopsoas. It's made up of a muscle called the psoas major and the iliacus. Okay, then we have a group of muscles called the adductor muscles, meaning they add the leg back to the midline of the body. So we will look at those in general, but just understand they're actually a combination of muscles. And then we'll look at one called the sartorius. Here we see this area here is the iliopsoas. It breaks down into a muscle that attaches again. Now again, the gluteus muscles are on the back side of this. So this is on the anterior portion of the oscoxal bone. There's the pubis area right there. So this iliopsoas divides into a muscle that attaches on the inside portion of the what's called the iliac fossa. And then this portion, even though they've cut it right here, this actually runs on up and ties into the transverse processes of the vertebrae. Okay, so again, this iliopsoas is made up of these two muscles, iliacus on the ilium and psoas major, which is this portion, but they've cut it, but it actually goes up and ties into the vertebrae. Okay, here we see this long, skinny muscle running from the superior lateral part of the leg near the hip bone all the way across the leg, and then actually inserting, notice this big tendon right here, actually goes down and inserts on that tibial tuberosity. So this long skinny muscle is the sartorius. Now the adductors are these muscles basically on the inside portion of your leg that are helping pull the leg back towards the middle. So to abduct means to take away, to adduct means to add to. So here we have an adductor longus and an adductor magnus. We even have an adductor brevis, but so these kind of medial muscles. Okay, our hamstrings is actually in the back of our legs, and it is a group of three muscles: the bicep femoris, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus. Looking at this picture of the model, notice that this is the lateral side, the outside. Here's the medial side, the middle of the where your body would be. Okay, this superficial, the outside muscle on the lateral side is the bicep femoris. Remember, we have a bicep brachii in our arm. We have the bicep of the femur. Its job is to raise the lower leg. Okay, then we have two muscles here. One is more superficial, more on top. It's the semitendinosus. It's got this huge tendon running down that you can feel if you tense your leg and feel on the inside part of your leg. And then it's got this muscle that lies underneath it that's also broader than this because it lies underneath this, but it runs from here all the way over. It's just beneath this, and it's the semimembranosus. We can see part of the semimembranosus on the superficial area, but it's actually underneath this muscle. So bicep femoris, lateral side, semitendinosus, medial side and superficial, semimembranosus, broader but underneath the semitendinosus. Okay, next we have the quadriceps group. Quad means 4, so I have 4 muscles here. Rectus means middle, so the muscle in the middle of the quadriceps is going to be the rectus femoris. Then I have 3 vastus muscles, and the second part of the name kind of gives us a clue of where it's at. So I've got a vastus muscle on the lateral side of the rectus femoris, a vastus muscle on the medial side of the rectus femoris, and a vastus muscle underneath the rectus femoris. So notice here's my quadricep area. We can see 3 of the 4 muscles. The middle muscle, rectus femoris, rectus being the middle, vastus medialis on the medial side of the leg, vastus medialis on the lateral side of the leg, vastus lateralis. And if I pulled this up and looked beneath it, I would actually see my vastus intermedius, which this is saying is not visible on this model, but you could see it if you were to pull this up. Finally, we have muscles of the lower leg that help cause movement of the foot and ankle. So the tibialis anterior, we know the big bone of the lower leg is the tibia, so on the front side or anterior side of that will be a muscle. Then we've got the extensor digitorum longus. Digitorum longus has got something to do with the digits of the feet, and they would help extend them. Then we've got 2 fibularis. We know the fibula is the smaller of the 2 lower leg bones, so we've got one that's the fibularis longus, also called the peroneus longus, or the fibularis brevis, also called the peroneus brevis. So if you do see a muscle with the name longus, then there's probably a brevis that is also named. So this extensor digitorum longus, the reason why it's called longus is because you actually have an extensor digitorum in your forearm region. So this distinguishes the fact that this is in your leg region, not in your forearm region. Okay, then we have the gastrocnemius, which is basically what you would call your calf muscle. Underneath the calf muscle is a broader area called the soleus, and these two come together to form the calcaneal tendon, and this is what most of you would call your Achilles tendon. So let's look at these. You can actually see part of the tibia right there. So this muscle running on the front side or the anterior of it is the tibialis anterior. Okay, you can actually see this muscle right here that runs down and has all these tendons running to the toes or the digits. So this long muscle is the extensor digitorum. These are digits, longus. And then what we have here on the side, because on the lateral side we would have the fibularis longus, and then down here we would have the fibularis brevis. Back here we got what most people call their calf, these teardrop shaped muscles here, and the gastrocnemius. And then if we were to take that off and look underneath it, this broad area right through here is the soleus. And so again, this is if I took this thing off and turned it around, I see the soleus underneath the gastrocnemius, which would be kind of like in this area, which I'm trying to outline. This part right here would be like right there and right there. But notice how the soleus and the gastrocnemius come together to form this tendon right here, which is the calcaneal tendon because it goes to the calcaneus of the foot. And of course that's called the Achilles tendon. Okay, so you will need to know a lot of these muscles and a lot of the bones for your lab practical midterm. So make sure that you are going over this list and you're recognizing what goes where.